All right. Welcome into another episode of Why Wait Till Sunday. We've got a behind the scenes episode this week. And I say that because, we are always talking about fantasy college sports and Deviant Dynasty and all that kind of stuff and ranking guys. But tonight we've got, one of the guys on the field with us tonight who, we root for and we're hoping, get us those touchdowns and everything. But we're going to take a look behind the helmet and see the people. And we've got Kyric McGowan, who's at Georgia Tech right now, transfer in from Northwestern this year as a grad transfer. So we will go ahead and take it to the intro and then we'll get going. And welcome to Why Wait Till Sunday, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Why Wait Till Sunday. I'm your host, Alfred, and I am here with a very special guest tonight.
This guy's got it all, everything you could ask for.
Longhorn fans are excited about Bijan Robinson, number 5. This is a guy that comes in as the number 1 running back recruit in the country.
Elite.
Back to the ground with Robinson, who spins and then tries to bounce it. A stiff arm, another one as he rides it, keeps his balance. They're going to say step down.
He's got tremendous upside.
By Stevenson, a little bit of pressure as he launches it downfield. Touchdown, Sooners, the breakout freshman, Marvin Mims.
Ole Miss is so confused on defense. Lane Kiffin was trying to get a timeout. Instead, it's a first down, and it's a touchdown for defense.
He's my play of the week. Smash potential here. That's what I'm saying.
The royalty of college football is in assembly at the Rose Bowl 2006.
All right. Well, Kyric, how are you tonight? Thanks for joining us from Atlanta now, I guess, these days.
Doing good. How about you?
Awesome. I'm fantastic because, this is the first time I've had a current player on the show, and that is really exciting. You are back home now from Northwestern, where you spent your first 4 years, but you hail from Dalton, Georgia, which is just about an hour and a half north of here. So how does it feel to be back home?
That's very exciting. Something that I really looked forward to once I chose Tech. And, it's been a short time since I've been here at Tech, but I've definitely enjoyed it. And it's been really fun being back home and getting to be around my family and also, continuing to play football and get a master's. So pretty good start so far.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the Masters is really great. Obviously, Georgia Tech is an excellent institution, but you played 4 years at Northwestern. You actually got on the field right away as a true freshman, I noticed. I think you even had some stats in your very first game ever for the Wildcats back in 2017. And for our listeners who may not know, Kyric finished his Northwestern career with 55 rushes and 68 total receptions for 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns. So the really cool thing about how you were used in their offense is that you were obviously on both sides, in both phases of the offense, both as a runner and a receiver. But I noticed you actually were listed as a corner on 247.com. So did you play all 3 spots in high school, like running back and corner and receiver, or how did you transition into the weapon you are now?
Yeah, I did actually. I did play corner, wide receiver, and running back all through high school. I think my junior year, I pretty much kind of gave up running back and just stuck to mainly receiver and corner and played full-time both ways. And then same thing my senior year through high school. So a lot of my offers some were for receivers, some were for DB, some were for like both. Like I had the option to choose what I wanted to play. I knew at the next level that I wanted to play receiver. So that's what kind of led me to playing receiver at the college level.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool, though, because you are very effective as kind of a weapon out of the backfield as well. But now you're, back home at Georgia Tech and looking to help the Jackets make a run in the ACC. But before we get to that, I'd like to just ask a little bit about kind of the beginnings, like when did you realize you were going to be able to play Big Ten football? So not only FBS and not only Power 5, but like Big Ten football. I mean, that's a huge deal. So, was there a moment in high school? Did you get a phone call? Did your teammates tell you like, dude, you're going to be better than all of us? Or, what happened there? When did you kind of know?
I think that's a funny question because I think it's something that just like kind of just happened. I don't necessarily feel like it was like one certain thing that kind of just happened to me, and I kind of felt like, oh, like yeah, it's happening. But I would pretty much say like I think I picked up all of my offers after my junior year, and I think like I had a really good junior season during high school, and things started coming. I started physically developing a lot more. Just the game started coming at me a lot more naturally, and just playing just solely based off of instincts and and raw talent like that. And then as I went to like more and more camps and just seeing that I can compete with other guys that were in high school and that wanted to go to these other Power 5 schools, and then obviously I started to pick up offers. After I think I started to pick up my offers after like a Nike. The opening combine or whatever that was, like I went to, I think I ran like a 4.4, and then it wasn't like a week or two later that I think I got like my first offer. So, and then after my first one rolled in, it kind of just started the big snowball effect, and pretty much it just like every day, every week, the offers and just the level of schools that were offering me just like, kind of kept going up. Started out FCS, to FBS, to Power 5, to ACC, SEC, and Big Ten, and it just kind of kept growing. And it was a really fun process. Very stressful. I feel like for any athlete, that young with having to make a decision that big about their future. But it was very fun, and I definitely enjoyed it. And it's something that I really cherished. And so, I learned a lot going through the process. From different schools at different locations, and different coaches, and what all goes into choosing a destination for college outside of just playing football was a big part to my decision. So it was a very, very eye-opening moment.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what that's like. That just even to have people saying like, "I want you to come to our school. You're, someone we're sought after." My, college experience was like, "Boy, I hope they let me in." And you got people coming at you like, "We need you. We need you." So that's really cool. Obviously, academics was a big part. I mean, you wound up at an excellent, nationally known, maybe world known, institution at Northwestern, and a really good coach up there in Fitzgerald as well. And Northwestern's a very pesky quality program that he's built, I think, up there. So really cool situation you got. So you've come all this way, from high school, and who do you think has helped you develop most as a player? I mean, from being both sides of the ball to then becoming, the multi-purpose offensive weapon you are now.
I think definitely one is just the preparation, that my coaches, my former coaches in high school coming through, and my trainer, Joe Riggs back home, just helping me be prepared to, be the best at whatever position I'm at, whether that was corner, receiver, or running back, just kind of like not actual cross training, but just making sure like my technique, was as good as it could be for all those positions. And at times it kind of got frustrating just because, you can't focus on one and, lock in on one position to be good at. But, my mindset in high school and still kind of the same through college is, I want to do whatever I need to, for the team to be as successful as they can. So if it was playing 3 different positions and, having to prepare for that in the off season, then that's what it was. And so I definitely give a big credit, to my strength coaches through high school and my trainer, also to my dad. I think he helped me a lot mentally, helping me like get through stuff and just knowing like the pressure of, playing those positions and, being the guy on your team, and, how to handle pressure in those positions and how to mentally stay locked in and focused in those big moments. So I definitely give credit, to all those people.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure that, all your teammates coming, I'm sure you were like one of the best players in Dalton history, probably. So like you were, running corners, lockdown corner. You were probably most of the offense as well. So I'm sure everyone has been looking at you for a long time to come through in the clutch, like you said. And so preparation there is huge. So you mentioned some frustrating moments. What would you say at this point, leading into your, year at Georgia Tech here? What are your high and your low moments from your career so far? I mean, you can go all the way back to high school or, also college, a high and a low moment.
Oh, definitely. Coming from Dalton, a really small town, but football is pretty much the biggest thing there. So that was always something to look forward to. And like I said, I'll go back my senior year. Ended up finishing, or we lost in the Final Four. Ended up going 13-1, losing to the eventually state champ. But that was a really good season. That kind of felt like that season really kick-started me into my college career, and then obviously just making it to a Power 5 FBS, playing Big Ten football, playing as a true freshman. That was all really fun and things that I used to dream of, and, it all happened like that. And then, like as I progressed along the way, I think my freshman year at Northwestern, I think it was either a 9 or 10 win season, went to a bowl game. That was another high. Sophomore year, things really started to take off for me, college football wise, and I became a starter, I think 4 games into the sophomore year. And that was a really big year, really fun year. Ended up, I think we went in 8 or 9 straight, going to the Big Ten championship, competing against Ohio State for the first time, and then going out to the bowl game in San Diego, and a big comeback win against Utah. So things were really, really going up, really looking good. Junior year was one of the lows. Was definitely, expecting to come back and have another really good year, make another big run at the Big Ten championship and another bowl game. Actually ended up going 3-9 that season. Also ended up fracturing my foot, so I missed like the last, I think, 4 games of the season. So, that was a down, one, just because of the season, and 2, on top of that, the injury that I had to come back from, which put me out for a little bit. And then but there's beauty in the struggle, and just kind of rebuilt, came back for my senior year at Northwestern, which that was COVID year. The COVID alone was a big down. Not getting to spend that off season or that summer prior to the season, with my guys at Northwestern, and getting to be around them every day at workouts and whatever it may be. That really kind of sucked. And then obviously just the whole like yes and no about the season, like yes we're going to play, no we're not, it's delayed, no we're not, yes we are, and just all of that stuff is really kind of frustrating, even though it's nothing you can honestly do about it with something like with COVID. But eventually getting to play and getting to come back and getting to play, even with the stands not as full, was fun, just because we were out not playing football for so long, that it was just good to get back and get playing. And then another successful year, senior year, ended up going to the Big Ten championship again, losing pretty close to Ohio State.
No, man, you guys gave them a real run,
Definitely. Big credit to the staff at Northwestern, my teammates there all through the years. Definitely made it an eventful ride. And then that's what kind of led to another, I'd say it's a high and a low. After the Big Ten championship, I think this is the next question, but out going into like the transfer portal and stuff like that, that was a really like kind of bittersweet moment, just because it was such a quick turnaround.
So yeah, I mean, y'all at Northwestern, I mean, you touched on COVID, and I wasn't necessarily going to harp on that tonight, because I mean we're all dealing with it, but as a player, I mean, that must have been so bizarre, to know what the heck am I going to be doing here. Northwestern, actually, to their credit, did pretty well. I mean, you guys got in 9 games, much better than some teams that only got in like 4. So what was the hardest thing about all that? I mean, obviously, like not getting in the same type of practice schedule.
Definitely. It was a very tough situation, but we knew everyone had to go through it. So like, we're not going to sit here and like, say why us, because everyone was having to. But I think the biggest thing was just, keeping that tight circle within your team. I think we were actually fortunate. We had 0 positive COVID cases throughout the whole year. We had a few like contact traces in the beginning when we first reported back, but actually 0 throughout the season. So that's a big credit, to our team and our staff for, keeping everyone's safety as the number one priority. But I think, the biggest thing was just, it's still like you're playing college football, but you can't do the normal things. Like you can't go eat with your family after the games, really. You can't go, talk to fans, hang out with fans how you want. I remember like my family would come to games and I'd have to talk to them. I could go out to around the locker room and talk to them, but, I got to keep my distance. I can't give them hugs and little stuff like that. And also like, the first time playing in the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis was, the funnest, craziest game of my life. Just that environment and that feeling. And then playing it again this year, I know a lot of players say like, the crowd doesn't matter. It's all about what's going on. You're locked in, which that is very true. At some point, during the game, like you lock in, you don't even hear nothing. But, there is a time and a place where, you do look up and look around in the stadium and seeing it kind of empty and not as live as it was the first time. It's still kind of crazy. And definitely, I hope that's something that no other team has to go through ever again. So, that was a really, really bizarre time. And just, like I said in the beginning of the season, the yes and the no, and the yes, delayed, no, maybe, and then, some teams getting canceled. It was all over the place. So honestly, you were just waking up every day praying that 1, you didn't test positive, 2, you didn't get contact trace, and 3, like you would be playing that week, because you could practice, and then come Thursday, boom, like games canceled due to the other team. So it was just like, you control what you can control, which is, your number one priority, which is safety.
It had to be hard though, because like you said, I mean, you're locked in the game, and you're locked in your week. And I was not a high level athlete, as you maybe can tell just through the screen here, but I can understand that, like, or I've heard also that you get in a rhythm, right? I mean, you get in your weekly process, you get in your practice schedule and your training schedule and all that. And, just for that to even be so messed up. I mean, I think sometimes as fans, we're like, it's just like playing Madden, right? You just like turn on the game, you play the game, and then you're ready for the next game. But like in real life, you guys have a process, and you couldn't go through your process. And then, even in the back of your head, always wondering, am I going to get the call that I'm out, or that, and then my whole, running back room is out or whatever, it's like, it must've been very challenging just to even get in a rhythm.
It was the routine was definitely, I think midway through the season, we all kind of worked into one, as in like how things were going to go, but it was just, everything was just so like subjective and just kind of like day to day, like, things could, if this many people get out, practice could get canceled, or, we kind of got to tailor practice this way because this many guys are out, not even because they're positive, but maybe contact trace,
right?
Stuff like that. And just, it was actually, I had a really big scare. Big Ten Championship week, I actually tested positive on Wednesday of that week. And so right after, like we got tested every morning, and so after practice,
which sucks actually, also probably.
We got tested every morning, and so I ended up testing positive, or the results came back, and then I instantly had to do like the PCR and the next test where they send it down to the lab where you get tested twice again. And it came back that it was a false positive. But I did get quarantined into a hotel and stuff like that. And I was really scared, thinking I was going to miss the game. But luckily it was just a false positive. So I was able to come back later to practice. So,
man. Yeah. that sucks. I mean, all that just sucks. Golly. Well, I'm glad that you made it through. You had a successful season. And like you said, you wound up transferring. So did you just want to come home or, change of scenery? Because you could have played a 5th year, I suppose. Or I guess you couldn't have because you didn't redshirt. So what are the rules around that? Like, did you have to transfer to play another year?
I did not. So, yes, I did play.
Because of COVID, yeah, you could have
did play as a freshman, but due to like my senior year was the COVID year. That year didn't count against anyone. So that's why I was able to transfer. I could have stayed at Northwestern, obviously entered the portal. But that's what led to me entering the portal. And just I think I told myself at the beginning of my senior year, if I had the year I wanted on the field, I was going to go ahead and declare for the NFL. And we had a really good year, really good run. But I still think there were some things that, I wanted to clean up just in my own game before I gave it a shot at the next level. Also, still with COVID still being a big uncertainty at that time, didn't necessarily know how things were going to go draft-wise, training and looking forward into the NFL and rookie minicamp, OTAs, whatever that may be. Didn't know how that was going to go. Didn't know about anything about vaccines and anything like that. So I did decide, to factor that in, and that also played a big part into me, wanting to come back for another year of college. And then once I decided that I wanted to come back, but due to that uncertainty, then I started to consider the transfer portal.
So what's that like? I mean, as a fan, it's kind of this mysterious box. Players go in and they come out on the other side of another school. But do you who do you tell your coaches, or do you just put your name into a website, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's pretty simple. It's like just entering your name into a database, and I think you can't can't legally contact any coaches from other schools or talk to them while you're still at your current school. So once you make that decision that you want to transfer, obviously, yes, let your coaches know and let your teammates know, however you want to go about it, whatever that may be. But yeah, you pretty much just tell them, and then it's really the compliance office at your school that enters says this, you're there for not disenrolling at your school and entering the portal, saying this and that. And then once your name is in it, you can't go into the portal and see it or whatever, but whatever the recruiters see at each school, I think it pretty much pops up to them a little notification, email, this person entered, and I don't know if there's filters or whatever, but pretty much as soon as you enter it, you'll have, depending on just who you are and who you're wanted by, you'll have coaches calling you, emailing you, or whatever.
So it's a recruiting all over again, right? Coaches just start contacting you, and
just pretty much going through that same. Well, it is the same recruiting process. Obviously, it's a little bit different now that I've already went through it and been through college. But yeah, pretty much it was similar to high school again. Just phones ringing, talking to coaches constantly, day in and day out. So it's another stressful time, to say the least. And just, I think for me, it was so stressful, and just because everything was going so quick. I entered the portal after the Big Ten championship. We definitely was looking forward to playing in the bowl game with Northwestern. However, I knew that, I wanted to get wherever I was going at the beginning of the new year. And that so our bowl game was on New Year's, or right there at New Year's, and it was going to be such a quick turnaround. I knew I wouldn't necessarily have time to get to my new school in time. So that's what led to me opting out on the bowl game, and big credit to my coaches and, my players respecting that decision, and the rest of the, Northwestern community, whatever. They really respected it, and thankful for that. But that's what kind of led to me, entering the portal and entering it when I did.
Yeah. So you chose, and in the end, you came down to ATL, which is pretty cool, and back home. What do you think of, Coach Collins and the culture that they're building, as a resident of Atlanta, I've seen him come in and kind of like, build just kind of a more modern program, that under Paul Johnson, it was the triple option, and Georgia Tech just felt very old fashioned, in general. But Coach Collins came in and he kind of like did this whole thing with like the 404 area code and taking over Atlanta and kind of like some cool stuff I thought with like the city and kind of rallying this idea of Georgia Tech is Atlanta, which I thought was cool. So, was that even part of it for you, or did you like what's going on obviously with Georgia Tech right now?
Oh yeah, I definitely now that I'm here and I'm in it, I definitely love it. But seeing it from the outside, and when I was talking to Coach Collins and the other coaches during the process, seeing the way that they branded Georgia Tech, seeing the way they branded their players, and kind of saw Atlanta as one, not Georgia Tech, but also you got the Braves, the Falcons, the Atlanta United, kind of like we're all together as a 404. Thought that was pretty cool. And even though I'm not from Atlanta, with Georgia being home and being to Atlanta, I've obviously been to Atlanta many times. Like, it was definitely cool, and something that I wanted to be a part of. And I think I knew a lot about it. I watched a lot of Georgia Tech football actually the past season during my senior year, just because me and Jameer are really close.
Yeah, no way. Did he didn't go to the same high school, but was he from,
yes, he did.
He was from Dalton?
Yeah, he's from Dalton, same high school and stuff.
Man, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a freshman. He's actually a water boy. I hope he sees this.
I hope you hold that over his head.
Yeah, I hope he sees this. But he was a freshman my senior year, and so he was good, but he was a young pup, and just wasn't physically developed yet to be out there with us. But once we left, and sophomore year, he kind of just took off from there. But yeah, we were on the same team, same hometown. So I've always known about him, always been close with him, and stuff like that. So me and him talk every day through Snapchat, text, whatever it may be, to social media. And so I watch them whenever, I got the time or, I'm off. So I really liked what I saw from them, regardless of the, the record of going 3-9, whatever that may be. I just watching football, I liked what I saw, what they had going there. So when I decided to, enter the process, obviously talking to Jameer, and learning more about what they have going there, definitely was an interesting place in me as in terms of, getting to go back, play with Jameer, knew Jeff through Jameer, mutually that way. So it's already kind of like, friends or, just known about Georgia Tech through them. And then, just getting to know more about it through the process, talking to the coaches and players, and then obviously getting the chance, to come home back to Georgia, be close to my family, continue and work toward my master's. It seemed like the perfect opportunity.
Man, that is cool. I love that you, I guess I didn't do enough of my homework. I did not realize, I knew Jameer obviously was from Georgia, but I didn't know, I thought he was from South Georgia for some reason. So that is really cool that you're back with your friend from years ago, which kind of leads me straight into, like you mentioned, Jeff Sims too. Jeff and Jameer both were like, as someone who kind of keeps track of this thing, I was excited about both of them coming to Georgia Tech and kind of saw last year as a huge recruiting class for them to get those two guys as kind of foundational pieces on offense that they can build around, and maybe make something happen. So, obviously you have great respect for Jameer, what he's done, but coming back and, kind of getting on the field with them again and doing spring, like, are you excited about this offense and how do you fit in? I know in the spring game, you got the first play, I think, as a little indirect or, kind of a pop pass jet sweep type thing for a couple yards of first down, which is pretty cool to get the very first play in spring. So they must be thinking you're going to, be a vital part of this offense. I think you can be too.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of respect, for Jameer and Jeff. One coming in as true freshmen in the ACC and, playing the way they did. One being a quarterback, with Jeff and, the leadership that comes with that, as a true freshman and coming in through like a COVID summer, not really, being there. Same thing with Jameer, not really being there around the team as much and, getting to the real college football feel and off season as you would to a normal year. So big respect to them, for that. And then, through the season, like I said, I watched them a lot and, watched their character and their leadership throughout the season. And then fast forwarding to now, really excited to be a part of it. And it's been a really, really fun spring. I feel like I fit in, perfect within the offense. Got to play like a little bit of outside, played mostly in the slot, which is where I wanted to play. And obviously, like you said, still doing jet sweeps and, stuff out the backfield, using me in as many ways as they can. But, big credit to Coach Pop, Coach Dixon, Coach Collins, and making that transition for me into the offense very smooth. And Jeff and the rest of, the rest of the offense, those guys bringing me in and, helping me, learn the offense as quickly as I did. I can really see myself making an impact, with the guys around me. And that's something I really look forward to. It's a really, really fun spring. And really excited, for this for the season.
Yeah, and I tend to agree, man. I think Georgia Tech is a very, very fun and interesting program in the ACC, especially when we consider now just talking football, just talking this next year, the Coastal seems like it's a little bit, there's a door opening there. UNC lost tons of really important guys, Diami Brown, Daz Newsome, both their running backs, Chaz Surratt, I think, on the defensive side. So they lost a pretty big amount of guys who are going to go play in the league. Miami also lost some defensive players. King, their quarterback, is kind of a little bit of an unknown with coming off that unfortunate injury. So, I think the Coastal's kind of wide open. What do you think it's going to take for Georgia Tech to be a sleeper kind of out of nowhere? 3-9 to challenging for the Coastal. I think you guys can. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it's capable of happening. And, in the ACC championship run is definitely the goal. And it's funny because I've been in this position before as, being the underdog, Northwestern being the small private school in the Big Ten. You just don't get a lot of respect no matter what you accomplish, no matter how good you do that season. You're always going to be the underdog. You're always going to be the nerds of the conference, no matter, what it is. Even if you go to, multiple Big Ten championships in 3 years, whatever that may be, always kind of just not getting the respect that, deserve. So that's what I also kind of feel like it is, at Tech. And there's nothing to it but earning it and going out there and showing it. So, obviously, like you said, yeah, these teams are, losing a lot of guys, but, they're going to rebuild just how, Tech's rebuilding, and I expect it to be a tough season and a fun season. But I definitely, feel that, if we dial in and lock in and I feel like if we execute cleanly, like I've seen us do in spring practice, I think we could be really dangerous on both sides of the ball and definitely give it a run at the ACC championship because that's the goal.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I'm hoping to get over for a game or two now that I guess we're going to have fans this year, I hope. So, but man, Kyric, thanks so much for coming on. I think I'll let you go. I'm sure you got some studying to do or something because I'm sure your schedule is just packed. But, as for me and my podcast, we are rooting for you, man. And I hope you have a successful season. And man, I hope you get a chance in the league, get to the combine, maybe a Senior Bowl situation and make a splash. Cause I'll be honest, I think you got some special stuff on tape. You look really good. I hope you have a full season in your 5th year and make it happen.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully help you can get over to some games, I'm looking forward to a really good season. So appreciate it again and go Jackets.
All right. Yeah. Go Jackets and we'll see you later. Thanks everyone for listening.